This edition of MacVoices is sponsored by PDF Pen and PDF Pen Pro by Smile, the essential PDF utility. Download free demos and find out more at smilesoftware.com. MacVoices is in Las Vegas for NAB. I'm Chuck Joyner. Folks, we have Jesse of Saramonic here to talk about all of their audio products. I've been hearing a lot of interesting things about Saramonic from a lot of the folks you've already seen on MacVoices, and now we're going to hear it straight from Jesse. Jesse, welcome. Good to see you.
Thank you very much, Chuck. I really appreciate it. So we have a number of audio devices that interface with iOS devices. There are a number of partner users that we work with, and many of them have been thankfully spreading the word of Saramonic, and we thank them very much. But to get into it, clearly we've got audio interface devices in single and dual channel, and these will allow you to hook up XLR microphones, TRS inputs at 1/4 inch, and then 1/8 inch inputs to your iOS device. And then on the top here, you've got a headphone output and a volume control. And these are active pieces, so they run with a 9-volt battery, so that you can provide phantom power should you want to use XLR microphones with your device. So you're not chained to the typical on-camera microphone or a microphone that needs power and not be able to supply that power. These actually supply the power to your microphones, so that you can use recording microphones, you can use shotgun microphones, you can use any array of audio devices with your iOS device. This one happens to be a single channel in the SmartRig DI, and right behind me here is the dual channel in the SmartRig Plus DI. SmartRig Plus DI also has 1/8 inch inputs on the top. Can be used in mono and stereo mode as well. All of them go out to Lightning. I also have a USB-C version for some of the new iOS devices, and a 3.5 millimeter version for some of the older iOS devices.
I'm really intrigued by especially this stuff. I mean, you got a lot of great stuff, and we'll talk about some of the others in a minute. But there are products here that I've had to cobble different things together to make happen, and you've got them in such a nice compact little unit with features that I wouldn't even hope for. So very nice.
Thank you very much. Yeah, we try to keep these very user friendly as well, so they're simple to plug in, to use, to adapt to any of the iOS devices that you might be working with. Behind you here, we've got 2 new microphones that we've released in this series as well. One for USB-C and one for the Lightning end. And so on the bottom of these, which we'll see here, and we can probably shoot into in a little bit, you've got the USB output here, which can then run to USB-C or to Lightning, and then a headphone input on here. So this is actually a digital handheld microphone to do quite the same thing that we're doing now in a wired version. So if you're in an environment quite like this trade show, and you're not able to get good wireless audio, you can really just tether right up to your iOS device and use a handheld microphone to collect your audio for your video.
So I'm going to ask about that specifically. Sure. Although, what kind of pricing are we talking about?
These street out for $199. Behind me, the Saramonic SmartRigs start at around $129 for the single channels and $179 for the dual channels. So all these really in that under $200 price range to be able to get the audio interface.
And then on the other side of the table, and we can reach over if we need to, but you also have small, like very personal devices, so that personal microphones, so that you would connect them to an iPhone and maybe shoot it almost in selfie mode with a decent audio signal.
That's correct. So on the other side of the table, which we can have a look at possibly in some of the B-roll segments here, we've got lavalier microphones that connect to both the USB-C and Lightning. And then we have microphones that connect directly to your iOS device, which I'll show you right here. So these little mics, known as the Smart Mic in our line, allow you to connect via Lightning cable to your iOS device. The back end houses a headphone output, so if you're using a wonderful app, say like Filmic Pro or Movie Pro, you can monitor simultaneously while you're recording, and then of course listen to the playback audio without having to remove your microphone device. So efficiently, it is an audio interface and a microphone and a headphone output all built into one unit. These street out at $75, and they come with a foam windscreen and a furry windscreen. They're an all-metal design, and they're cardioid condenser microphones, so they act very much like a studio microphone.
I mean, there's so many things about this I'm impressed by, and folks, if you're not impressed, or then you haven't been paying attention or haven't gone through trying to find some of these solutions and realize just how difficult they can be to obtain. So that's why I'm really excited about some of these.
Thank you very much. There's some really cool features to some of these things. We have some other interface devices that go a little bit above and beyond that into, say, the $350 range that you can use with your laptops and with your iOS devices. And then we have some mixers and mixing devices that allow you to capture multiple channels of audio outside of the smart rigs that we already looked at back here. Some that come with microphones and stabilizers in the box, and some that'll work with some of the wonderful products that you're using today, like the iOgrapher kit.
Let's take a walk over to the wireless table. I'd definitely like to see some of that stuff as well.
Great, yeah, I think it's a wonderful idea. Saramonic is very well known for its wireless pieces, wireless devices. And we make wireless devices in 3 main bands, the VHF, UHF, and 5.8 gigahertz digital band. So not 2.4, which is where a lot of these things are housed now, but 5.8. It's a much cleaner, more open band. Our really main kit is called the UW Mic 9 system. And the UW Mic 9 system is a 2 transmitter to 1 receiver system, which means that you can mic up 2 people individually and have individual control over those signals when you're doing an interview or when you're doing a podcast or something like that. So unlike some of the more modern pieces in the 2.4 gigahertz, which are single channel, you turn this monologue into an interview. So with this kit, we have expanded into a number of different uses for iOS devices and other devices, really to get it into the digital realm. And so the first way that we've done that is by introducing a line of cables that go from analog on one end here to digital on one end here. And we have 2 cables here. One goes from 3.5 millimeter to USB-C. One goes from 3.5 millimeter to Lightning. And each of those cables is adaptable to just about any analog device that has a 3.5 millimeter input, or output for that matter, excuse me. So if I was to attach this to this lovely analog receiver, I can then change the signal in this to a digital signal to be brought into my iOS device or into my laptop, and then be able to manipulate 2 channels of audio through that, because this sees the left and the right, or the 2 channels of audio that are being transmitted from this receiver here. So essentially, these cables are in and of themselves the most basic form of interface. They take an analog device and they interface it with a chip, and then you're able to interface that with your iOS or laptop device. We also went a step further in this UW Mic 9 kit area to introduce here at the show the SP-RX9, which is a mobile kit for the UW Mic 9 system. All of the UW Mic 9 system is interchangeable and works together. So we have handheld transmitter, XLR transmitter, and then 3 different receivers at this point in time. An XLR receiver, the receiver you see here, and this receiver here. Now this receiver allows you to mount your iOS device in the back of the unit here and clamp this down. It's an all-metal device. It's an all-metal design. 96 channels of UH operation on 2 separate banks, so an A and a B, which means that you can use 2 transmitters at the same time to do your podcast or your interview. But this also hosts a number of different options. So you have 2 3.5 millimeter inputs for outside microphones. You have an XLR input here for an XLR microphone. Say you wanted to use a shotgun microphone or a handheld microphone, which also provides 48 volt phantom power. You have a USB audio input here, and then a headphone output that's built into this. So this literally has, on top of being a stabilizer, all of the outputs and inputs you could possibly want for your iOS device, including wireless. So wired or wireless transmission you can use with this UW Mic 9 kit in the SP-RX9.
So I think it's safe to say that if you're doing any kind of recording with iOS devices of any kind, this is where you want to stop first, because there's solutions here that I've never seen anywhere else, or that you have to combine multiple solutions to try to get where you're going.
Yeah, I think really Saramonic in and of itself is it's an audio solutions company. That's what we do. A major part of that is with the mobile device area, and we, unlike other companies, support USB-C and Lightning simultaneously. Many companies went to the Lightning stuff and have remained there. We've graduated from that and on to USB-C as well. So all of the new laptops and things that come out, especially in the Apple line, you can adapt these devices to.
Well, and the other table too, one of the things that impressed me is you're offering me the XLR input, but you also give me the mini jack input. Depending on what devices I'm using and want to plug in, it's all right there.
That's correct. A lot of people are using on-camera microphones these days and are shooting with DSLR and mirrorless cameras as well. To be able to provide a device that allows you to use those tools and adapt them to your mobile devices really just extends the tools that you have in order to get the media that you need.
So many solutions we could talk about, but I want to send people to the website, get them to check it all out for themselves, because it's just really, really impressive gear. And I'm looking forward to learning a little bit more about for some of the things I do. And that website is
Saramonicusa.com. We've got a beautiful new website up there. Please go check it out. And if you have any questions, we've got some great areas where you can submit those, and we're happy to help in any way that we can.
Jesse, thanks so much for the time. Great to meet you.
Welcome, Chuck. Thanks so much.
Folks, we'll have more from NAB in Las Vegas. I'm Chuck Joyner. Thanks for watching. Visit MacVoices.com for show notes and to connect with Chuck on social media. Get involved in our Facebook group or like our Facebook page, and get more out of your Apple tech with MacVoices Magazine, free on Flipboard and on the web. And if you find value in it all, consider supporting us through either our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/MacVoices or by making a one-time donation via the PayPal link on our front page and in the show notes of each episode. You will join these fine people who help bring you Mac Voices. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media at backbeatmedia.com. Bandwidth provided by CacheFly at cachefly.com.